what I like about this team, and I think of it in baseball terms, right? You can have a guy take those at the start of that game, right? And then you can bring in a KD that
Good
can be your
point.
closer.
I like that.
Right? And some nights that'll be KD carries 3/4 and Beal closes out, or Book, or however it plays out. But that's the beauty of having this much talent.
Big bright shiny star goes to
Big bright shining star.
Devin Booker. Finished with 32 points tonight, 4 assists, 12 of 21 from the field. A big third quarter for Book. He added 16 points in that quarter and really got this. It was pretty even up until then, and up until they started taking off in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So it's like Book jump started it. Then KD came in, also took over. Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen.
Yep.
It was nice.
Book was good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Book at times tonight had those moves where he got in the lane, he spun. I know the whole thing with his shoes is, it's a book, right? Well, it was a book of poetry tonight because that's the way those moves were. It was smooth. It was fun to watch. I love when he gets in that mode. It's something special when you get to see him hit those mid-range, hit near the hoop. I love that he was basically the driving force. That's easy enough for me to say in the first 3 quarters. And then he was able to hand it off to KD and Beal, who did a great job. But if you want KD talk in this show, you guys are going to have to give me the likes. You know how this works. Get us up to at least 200 likes, and I'll give you the KD talk. Otherwise, I'm holding it hostage. So, but I thought Book was in one of those modes tonight. Not quite Armani mode, but right near Armani mode.
I mean, I thought he was terrific, man. He took what the defense gave him. Very smooth, efficient game. Dominated that third quarter coming out of the halftime break. Gave us that little cushion we needed. And then, I mean, he didn't come into the 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter. He took 2 shots. But again, like I see people saying, well, he didn't score in the fourth. Well, I mean, you gotta know the game.
Also, when you've got a big three, that's
Right.
again the best part about all of these guys is that they can take turns when it makes sense within the flow of the game.
Correct.
Book had the third quarter, and then he was out for the start of the fourth quarter, and KD was like, don't worry, I got this. No fourth quarter woes here. Bradley Beal stepped up in the fourth quarter,
Right.
also had a better shooting stint in that quarter than he did earlier in the game. Like, that's the best part about having a big three, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I just love his awareness. I love the fact that, I mean, we just a week removed from people saying Book is shooting too much. Now he's not shooting enough. Like, you got to make up your mind. You can't play both sides of the fence. I mean, tonight he shot the amount of shots that I think he was comfortable shooting, that he needed to shoot. And at any point in that fourth quarter, I think if things would have came, gotten a little bit off kilter, you would have seen Devin say, okay, give me the rock, let's get busy. But he didn't need to. And so that's signs of maturation. That's signs of a superstar. He didn't have to force anything. He trusted his guys. And I mean, 32 points through 3 quarters is good enough for me.
Well, and what I like about this team, and I think of it in baseball terms, right? You can have a guy take those at the start of that game, right? And then you can bring in a KD that can be your closer.
I like that.
Right? And some nights that'll be KD carries 3/4 and Beal closes out, or Book, or however it plays out. But that's the beauty of having this much talent. If the defense starts focusing on one specific guy because he's having a hot night, pass the baton to the next guy. He's going to take over and do what he can. And we saw a little bit of that. The Bucks started running the double at Book a little bit there. Late in the third to try to get him off his game. But then in the fourth, it was like, yeah, KD, Beal, go do yours.
That's a great analogy, man. That's a great analogy. I like that baseball one.
Yeah, because you don't need all 3 guys to be on a heater at all times, right? Like, that's a perfect world if all 3 of them aren't missing anything, of course, but only so many guys could score at a time, right? And so I like that.
So would you say that Book gave you 7 good innings,
Mhm.
and then KD came in as a setup man and got through the 8th, and then Bill closed it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind
fair?
of perspective,
fair,
you
Lance?
know.
Sure, why
Because
not?
I felt like KD had that middle part where he dominated the 4th and kind of set things up for Brad to hit the big 3 at the end and have his little stretch.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like you got a good start from Book. KD was a setup man, and Bill came and closed it tonight. And that can change any night. They're interchangeable. So that's a nice little analogy, Mr. Esposito.
Every once in a while, I say something that's considered semi-intelligent on this program.
Okay,
So
I like it.
We also have, I believe, 2 X Factors for tonight's game.
Oh,
Eric, you could put them in any order you want here. KD, of course, is a PHNX factor. KD, like we said, in that 4th quarter. Also, shout out to KD for his defense, right? We've
Yeah.
talked a lot about KD being the one who's willing to accept that tough-ass assignment of defending the opponent's best player. Did the same thing tonight.
Yeah.
Like, he's been leading the way as far as being that example of, I want the toughest,
Yeah.
what's the word?
Matchup.
defensive assignment.
Defensive assignment.
Thank you. I was
There
like,
you
I
go.
just said it. The toughest defensive assignment. Give it to me. I'll lead the way. I'll take this on. You guys do your thing. And I think when you have a guy like KD who's willing to do that at 35 years old,
Yeah.
you guys better play defense. then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I think a big part of their run since Christmas is that, in part, KD said, "I want those assignments," and it helped. It got other guys in the mindset that, well, if he's going to do that, I got to lock in, like you're saying. And I think we've seen. I mean, it's not. I think you see it when you look at the net rating that this team has gotten better
Yeah.
in their defense since then. It's a big part of why they've seen that turnaround since Christmas. And I think KD deserves a big part of that credit, not only for how well he's playing, but for also giving that motivation to his teammates by going, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to bust my ass because he is.
Big
Yeah.
time effort by KD tonight, for sure. And that dunk on
Absolutely.
Jan. I mean, that dunk on
Right?
on
Yeah.
Giannis. Woo, baby.
Well, and like, okay, did you see? I think it was that dunk. There were pictures going all over Twitter. Like, Giannis's hand was straight up in his face, like
Yes.
on his face.
Yes, they hit him clearly. Yeah. And that's a big boy. I mean, and he's had a couple of those this year.
Mhm.
Like
That-
Katie sneaky been catching some bodies
has.
this year. So good for KD at 35. That's impressive, man. These guys are starting to click. They're starting to click. Who's the other guy?
Who's our other X Factor tonight? Our other X Factor is Bradley Beal.
Ooh.
We're just celebrating the big 3, you guys. We got a good mix from these 3 guys tonight. So, as we mentioned, Book finished with 32 points and 4 assists. I forgot to read you Katie's stats, but it was 28 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks. And then Bradley Beal added in 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists himself. Like, this is
10 rebounds.
This is a really good mix from
Yeah.
all 3 of these guys.
Yeah.
I need Brad to shoot a little bit more efficient. We were talking about it.
Yeah.
I'd like him at times to pump fake on that 3 and drive. We saw it a couple times later in
Yeah.
the game when Brad's going downhill towards the rim, and can pull up for that midi as part of that. There's nothing better in his game, and when he can cross up guys, like he's the best guy off the dribble on the team. I want to see more of that. I don't need to see 8 threes
Yeah.
from Brad. I'd like to see him keep that aggressiveness and maybe, like we talked about, defer or get in closer
Yeah.
on those others as well. I know he'll hit at a higher clip from 3 at some point, but there's just something about the way he goes to the rim, the mid-range game with him. I want to
Yeah.
see more of.
Those feel so effortless.
They
Yes.
are.
They feel so effortless coming
are.
from Brad Beal.
Yeah,
Like, I'm never concerned about those. The
Yeah.
3s, every once in a while, I kind of catch myself being like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when he drives or that little midi,
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, all right, Brad. Another 2 points.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's the shiftiest and bounciest guy that we got.
Mhm.
He can create his own shot. He's explosive going to the rim. I will say this. Sometimes there are guys that when they shoot the 3 ball and they're not shooting it well, they kind of get stuck on that. The one thing I like that Brad does that I've seen in the last couple games is when he's missing his threes, he still uses his shots as leverage. And so what I mean by that is he's taking the threes and he's not making them. But the fact that he's taking them is allowing that defense to come out and anticipate that he may take another one.
They're keeping him honest.
Keeping him honest. And then when he gets you off that 3 line and explodes, I mean, this guy is pretty damn good, one of the better in the league. And so his mid-range opens up, his ability to attack the basket opens up. And so he does a good job of utilizing that as part of his game. So like you said, Lance, he's going to hit more.